Saha, let me start with you with something that maybe sounds weedsy. And I think we had this whole discussion setting up the show. Do we start talking about this deal on the Electoral Count Act? Is it going to bore people? Are they going to turn off? But it's so important and it's so critical to preventing another January 6th from happening again. So talk to us about where this stands, this deal that would try to basically prevent presidential candidates down the road from stealing elections.
That's right, Hallie. We know the January 6th committee has this tantalizing trove of information about a plot to steal an election. The question becomes, what are they going to do with all that knowledge? And legislatively, this is where the rubber meets the road. A working group, a bipartisan group of senators, is finalizing legislation as we speak. It could be released as early as next week to close gaps in election law in an attempt to prevent candidates in future elections from trying to steal elections the way former President Trump allegedly attempted in 2020. There are several aspects that they're tackling in the law. Specifically, it looks at revising the 1887 Electoral Count Act to make clear that a vice president does not have unilateral power to reject electors. They raise the rules for forcing Congress to vote on objections to certain electors from the current rule of one member of the House and one senator to about 1/5 of each body. And there are other changes that they're making as well, including changes to the Presidential Transition Act to make sure both candidates in cases of a close or contested election are able to access resources. And finally, the issue of safe harbor. This deadline, the statutory deadline for states to send electors to Congress to make sure it counts. This group is working to make sure that that is done properly in a way that assures that the winner has their electors sent to Congress and ultimately is certified. Now, we know the leadership of both parties, the Democratic and Republican Party, have blessed this negotiation. They're hoping to release legislation as early as next week. That's according to a leader of the group, Senator Susan Collins, a Republican of Maine. And there remain questions about when they're going to vote on it. Some want to do it between the August recess and the midterms, whereas others say it might have to happen in the lame duck, Hallie.
Russian forces have extended their reach into the very heart of Ukraine, bombing a city which is far from the eastern front line. At least 23 people, including children, were killed in a cruise missile attack. More than 60 were injured, needing hospital treatment. The president of Ukraine, President Zelensky, called it an open act of terrorism. Now, the attack took place in the city of Vinnytsia, and that is southwest of the capital, Kyiv, and a very long way from the focus of the fighting in that eastern region of the Donbass. The Russian Defense Ministry has consistently denied targeting civilians, despite all the evidence. Our correspondent Sarah Rainsford is in Vinnytsia. Her report does include some distressing detail.
A sunny morning in Vinnytsia suddenly turned pitch black. This was moments after the Russian missiles hit. The staggering wounded and those killed on the spot. It was a strike on the very heart of this city. There was an air raid siren, but this is central Ukraine, far from the fighting, so people ignored it. The blast was huge. And among the ruins we found this, smeared with blood. The 4-year-old it belongs to was killed. Her name was Lisa. Her mum filmed the little girl just an hour before the attack. They were on their way to see her speech therapist. Irina herself was badly injured. Today in The Hague, Ukraine's prosecutor general called Russia's missile strike a war crime.
It was scary. People came running this way, covered in shrapnel injuries. So I ran in the other direction, because it was frightening.
A giant department store was destroyed, including a medical centre, completely gutted on the ground floor. But it seems the Russians' target was opposite. This is called Officers' House, but it's a concert hall. We saw no sign of any military here.
It is really hard to see scenes like this and to think of how Russia talks about its precision missiles and its military targets. This wasn't a military target, and the force of the blast here was so huge that it wrapped that car around the base of this building. And this attack happened right in the middle of a beautiful morning here in Vinnytsia, when people would have been out and about and would have felt safe. But nowhere is safe in Ukraine anymore.
Not even people's houses. Alexander thinks he heard the missile before it struck below his balcony. With so many injured and killed, he tells me he feels lucky that only his windows were shattered.
I ducked like this, but then I thought, there's nowhere to run. It's too late. So I thought, whatever will be, will be.
The missile fragments are being collected. The investigation has begun. A process once unimaginable in Ukraine that's now terrifyingly familiar. Sarah Rainsford, BBC News, Vinnytsia.
The Trump family, Donald Trump specifically, announcing on his Truth Social platform that his first wife, IvanaTrump, has died. Mr. Trump, the former president, calling Ivana, his first wife, quote, a wonderful, beautiful, and amazing woman who led a great and inspirational life, saying it is with deep sadness that we announce the passing of Ivana. Remember, she's the mother to the former president's oldest children, Ivanka, Don Jr., Eric. The Czech-born woman met the future president while working in New York as a fashion model in the late 1970s. As we mentioned, she was mom to Don Jr., to Ivanka, to Eric, and a grandmother to their combined 10 children. During her marriage to former President Trump, she also took on big roles in the Trump Organization, which at the time managed the family's real estate holdings. She was 73 years old. Mem, just a moment of reflection here, given this news that is developing here this hour.
Yeah, obviously the former president's first wife and a longest tenured wife, if you want to put it that way. The mother of the former first children in the White House. It's worth noting, Hallie, and you know this as well as anybody, that the former president did have warm relations with his former wife. They were still in contact over the years, and she was still involved in the family life here. But obviously, the condolences going out to the former president, to his family at the loss of IvanaTrump now.
23 past the hour, we have breaking news on the contempt trial for Steve Bannon. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams is here with that information. Pete.
Jose, once again, the judge has denied a request from Bannon to delay the start of his trial, which is right now scheduled for Monday. And if this has a sense of deja vu for you, it's because we've been through this once before. Earlier, Bannon's lawyers had said that because his name was mentioned in some of the January 6th hearings, that could taint the jury pool. The judge denied that request, and then the lawyers for Bannon renewed it again this week after Tuesday's hearing, saying that Bannon's name was mentioned again. And they say CNN plans to run a documentary about Bannon on Sunday night on the eve of the trial, and that could also influence potential jurors. But the judge said, the government had opposed that, by the way, Jose. The government said, number one, the mentions of Bannon were strictly factual in the hearing and didn't amount to much. And two, they say it appears that the CNN documentary is going to be about Bannon's attempt to influence Republican Party politics, not about the charge at the heart of the case, which is, of course, contempt of Congress for declining to respond to the January 6 subpoenas back in October. So as it stands right now, the trial is still scheduled to start on this coming Monday, Jose.
Vice President Kamala Harris raising a few eyebrows as she fumbles through yet another speech while speaking at a workforce summit. Watch this.
Together, we are expanding access to transportation. Seems like maybe it's a small issue, it's a big issue. You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
Here to translate, Fox News contributor Laura Trump joins us now. Laura, good morning. Thanks for being here. This is one of many, as we've heard. What did she mean and what does it mean?
Well, I'm glad I'm the translator for this. I feel very honored. I actually feel like, Pete, we could have a song out of that. If you put a little music in the background there, you need to get to go, you need to get to go. Like, we could really have something there. Perhaps the vice president missed her calling in the music industry, but she is the vice president of the United States. So we'll take a step back. Look, I feel like parents all across America are very familiar with this sort of thing because I hear this from my kids whenever they have an argument they're trying to make, or they're trying to tell me they need something, but they don't really have any backing to their argument or any foundation. Things come out in this way, and it's as though the vice president subconsciously knows that the arguments she's trying to make are not really valid, or they don't really have any good standing. So this is maybe the way it comes out. And look, as much as we like to laugh at this and poke fun at it, this is the number 2 in charge of America. If Joe Biden is no longer president, this is who takes over. And when you have a president who has cognitive lapses at the rate that Joe Biden does and does not exude strength, you need to have a vice president who can pick up that slack. And unfortunately, we don't have that because we have Kamala Harris, and she comes out like this and says this crazy stuff. And unfortunately, not only are we watching it and laughing at it, but leaders all across the world, Pete, are also seeing this, whether friend or foe. And man, is it just a bad look for America all around. But we're getting used to it. Maybe we just ought to put music to the background of this stuff from now on.
You're right.
I don't know.
I've heard that type of rhetorical approach from my 9-year-old as well. When they're buying time, trying to buy substance as well. But you saw the poll, 64% of Democrats don't want Joe Biden to run in 2024. I wonder what that number would be for her. So what does that mean for Democrats across the country as they look down and say, if it's not Joe and it can't be Kamala, or maybe it is, maybe she gets her shot at it, what does that mean?
Well, she typically polls even lower than Joe Biden, which, I mean, that is just, the bar is so low already. It's shocking. And you remember when she ran for president the first time around, she dropped out before even her home state of California voted because she was doing so poorly and she was so unpopular. So it is not likely, I think, in many people's minds that Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee if it's not Joe Biden running in 2024. But that does open up a whole host of questions, Pete. Who will it be on the Democrat side, and where does it say that the Democrats are? They're in pretty bad shape. They don't have any strong candidates. Whether it's the current president and vice president, which you would typically look to for a second term, or any of the whole host of other folks that have been thrown out there, whether Pete Buttigieg, gosh, we know Hillary wants to get back in there. I mean, there really aren't any great candidates for the Democrats. So looks good for the Republicans. We're okay with that.
Yeah, you need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go.
You do.
To do the work.
You really do.
And get home. You did the work. Hope you get home soon. Lara, thank you so much.